Um, okay, hi. I told myself that no matter what state of completion that this feature was at, that I would make a video demonstrating my current progress. It's been way too long since I started on this mechanic, and I really just need to reach a stopping point on this feature and, shove it back down on the priority list. This is my fourth time trying to make this video, and I think I do a little bit better on stuff like this when it's just a little more candid, a little more real, a little more personable, if you will, whatever. So for starters, I made 3 new weapons, and I will show you here the order that I made them in. You can see a dramatic improvement between the 3 of them. That's kind of cool, at least in my opinion. I don't have much to say about their unique abilities and effects because, well, most of my time was spent building the underlying system and the mechanics that would allow me to modify and execute said abilities and effects. So, what am I building right now? Well, in my previous game dev video, I showed off how you can select a gem in your inventory, infuse it with elemental magic, and then install it on a weapon, which would grant you the abilities and effects of the gem while you're wielding that weapon. I have some footage saved of this mechanic when it was in a more debuggy phase, It was just a few buttons here and there and a handful of placeholder images that would pop up when you selected a weapon. Without much further ado, please excuse the wide open door. I haven't gotten around to modeling a door and all of the processes for that yet. Without further ado, let's see what this new feature looks like. And here we have it. I'm gonna get it to a certain point before I start talking too much about it. There, okay, I think that's good for visual demonstration. I went through a few different design iterations, and to be honest, I'm not completely sold on this light blue version. I think I found another direction that I really want to go in with it, but it's still very much a work in progress, and it requires yet another revamp of all of these elements within the UI itself. Anyways, let's walk through this. Oops. I'm going to pretend that we didn't go through that one part. Here we go. So, first, I will select a weapon from my weapon selection scroll box over here, and it will create this weapon interface that is unique to this particular weapon. These are the parameters on the player that the weapon modifies while it's being wielded. So these are just debug numbers, and defense doesn't have any because I was kind of just wanting to make sure that I could actually get it to work. But in this particular instance, holding this weapon will give you an increase in the amount of strength you have by 40, and an increase in your critical bonus by 50. Those numbers don't really mean anything right now, but they will in the future. Anyway, over here are the abilities that are attached to the weapon. They come built in with it, and they cannot be moved. They cannot be taken off of it. It's just the consequence of said weapon. What does my list say? Okay, over here in this box, like there's none here yet, but there will be in like just a minute. Is the abilities that are the consequence of installing a gem into one of the sockets on the weapon up here. As a side note, gosh, these are so tiny, I don't know. More on that later. Explicit information, or more visual information about the weapon sockets, is here in the center. So you can see the shape of the socket and whether or not it's filled, and if it is filled, what the element of the gem is that installed there, things like that. I feel strange about it because technically that information is given to you twice, but then again, maybe not. Maybe I'm just... There's still work to do, and I'm overthinking it already. Okay. Alright, sockets can only accept gems that match their corresponding shape. So, for instance, if I mouse up here and select this socket, Oh, also this cool rotary thing, I got that working. That was a lot of fun. I have this socket selected. The gem scroll box over here gets populated with all of the gems in the inventory. If a gem doesn't match the socket shape that's selected, that corresponding button is disabled. As you can see, this is a kite cut, and this is a triangle cut, and it makes sense that you wouldn't be able to put a triangular shaped gem into a kite cut socket. You know, I can't put a square peg in a round hole or something like that. Not sure. But you could put it in this one if you wanted to. Anyway, let me see. Oh, get my notes over here. What else was I going to cover? Okay, you may have already noticed, but if I hover over one of these, it updates the information box down here with the relevant information about that gem, such as what element they have, what tier they are, and what stat they modify. It should be in there somewhere, but right now it's just got abilities. Yet another piece of the puzzle I need to polish, but it's okay. It's okay. It's working. When we press the gem button, both the visuals on the weapon and the information attached to the weapon gets updated. So I'll press it and you will see that this changes and this changes. So this gets updated, and also we now have access to the ability that's on the gem, and it populates down here with information about the weapon. So pretty cool. Let's take a look at it. Right, so on to the next thing. One of the first things I got working after I paused work on the gem synthesis feature was swapping your weapon mid-game. Swapping the relevant weapon meshes and the relevant weapon animation blueprints is easy enough, but there's way more to it than just that. So much going on under the hood. It's not really the case right now, but all of these weapons will have unique attack animations and unique combos. So when you swap out the weapon, you're not just swapping out the mesh. You're swapping out what attacks the player has access to, and you are swapping out the relevant SFX and VFX. That happens when you press the attack button. Getting that to work, even at the state that it's in right now, was a beast. But it is complete for now, and it will be ready for subsequent future polish. Anyway, I think that's all I have that's worth sharing, besides this environment. I've done more work on other stuff, but it is less significant, and I think I'm going to pivot towards other things for a while, like environment and level design. We'll see. Got a lot of irons in the fire, a lot of things are cooking right now. I don't know, maybe I'll make a Patreon post that expounds more on the dev stuff, like the programming of the combat system, but, as of recording this, I have zero desire to do so. I have zero desire to make any kind of documentation. So, thank you for watching, thank you for your time, and I hope you have an awesome day. It means a lot to me. Bye-bye!